What's up, everybody? It's Julian. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make ANETHA style trance techno. To go along with this video, you can grab this full template at the top of the description on my website. Definitely make sure to grab that. Plus, also check out my new subscription service, ES Pro, where you can get access to this for free, plus a whole lot more. Links at the top of the description for all that. Thanks for the support, guys, and let's get started. Alright, we're at 150 BPM. First thing we got going here is pad 1. Notes-wise, all this pad does is it plays A sharp. We're in the key of A sharp minor, so it's kind of like working together with the bass line. Right, and it just creates this really hypnotic, repetitive thing. What's happening, though, is it's playing one note, and then there's a lot of things in the patch that are moving and changing. So if you look at this wavetable patch I got going here, you can see I have the sub oscillator, I have a square wave, and then I also have this bird's dual saw. And then you can see I have a little bit of an LFO just moving the birds. So that's the first source of movement. Then we have this low pass filter which has an LFO, so here's without that. And then with it, you can hear it just subtly moves in the high end, just a little bit, up and down, open and close. And you hear that like kind of morphing, right? That's something very important I noticed with these pads in these tracks. Then we got some reverb, and then I have this gate. So this is the trance gate effect. The way it works is if you sidechain to a gate, it's the opposite of sidechaining to a compressor. When you sidechain to a gate, you're only going to hear what plays when the sidechain hits. So what you can do is you can go in here and make the second track where I have this operator, which is just white noise with like no release. It's just... And then we play this pattern, and then what you do, is you sidechain the gate to that operator, and then you turn off the operator. And there you go, trance gate. Now you want to make sure you turn down the return and turn down the attack on this. I've got a little bit of reverb, sidechaining it to the kick, and then a high pass filter. The next thing we have here is pad 2. So this one changes notes a bit more. If you hear it against the other pad, even that, the fact that the other pad is playing one note and this is changing, is helping to create a lot of tension. As far as the notes go here, we're just doing 5th, 6th, root, 6th. It's pretty simple. I think, though, as far as the tension building goes, to have it build up to the root rather than start right on the root so you really hear it, the two pads slowly working their way up to each other, that is creating a lot of attention. Like, even though it's a simple thing that's happening, there's a lot going on there, right? Now, for the actual sound, this is also wavetable. I've just got one saw wave and then a bunch of unison, classic super saw. This one's more about the gate. This one, what's happening, so you can see it's just playing like that, right? And then what I've done here is I've gated it to this. Right, so now you're getting that rhythm. So you have, if you play the two gates together, like you hear all that movement, and then you get that with the two pads. And this is also part of like why you keep the notes really simple, because obviously if you have this thing going da 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 da, I mean, how much of a melody can you really play? Like, let's just get rid of this pad MIDI for a second and try playing something while the gate's going. You'll see what I'm talking about. It's like, even if I try to play a whole scale like that, you barely really hear it. It's almost like you need these longer held out notes so you can have the more hectic gate pattern. We got a bit of reverb, sidechain, and then a high pass filter. From there, we have our kick. So I made this kick using the drum synth in Ableton. It's a really, really powerful tool. A lot of people don't realize, like, You know, a lot of kick samples out there. I've really tried to avoid this with electronic samples, but a lot of kicks out there aren't that great that you get in sample packs. The drum synth, though, is honestly, if you know how to work with it and you know what you're looking for in a kick, I mean, that's a pretty damn hard kick, you know? I think if you play that on a club system with a bass line that matches, it's going to hit just as hard as any 909. I'm cutting a bit of sub out of that, so here's without this. With, you can hear just lifts the kick up a little bit, and then converting it to mono. We got our bass line. Just one note, A sharp, right? You can see the notes don't touch each other though, so they're pretty short. As far as the sound goes, I'm using this wavetable patch. We have a sub oscillator, we have sloppy square, and then we have this Cis 8 comb, which is an octave up from the other ones. You can see I'm also using a bit of pulse width and sync on those. And then I've got a low pass filter with this nice short punchy envelope on it, right? And then a few other little modulations inside of the patch with the wavetables, like just moving the position and the sync and stuff like that. We have this unison on phase sync. Here's without it. It's really subtle though because the amount's at 0. It just keeps the phase resetting. I have a bit of drum bus. Here's without. And with, you can hear it really dials in that low end on this one, but there's something you have to do later if you're going to do this, which I'll show you. We're side chaining to the kick, and with this side chain, you notice on all of these, I have the EQ on, so we're just side chaining it to the top of the kick, right? Then I have this EQ8 here, so we're cutting out a bit of sub, and then this is the thing that we have to do. If you're going to drum bus this, it can make things a bit muddy, so if I turn that off, see, now it's a lot more focused because what's happening is before you cut this, that frequency range is getting louder than your sub. So then what's going to happen is you're going to turn this up louder, trying to get more sub out of it, and then it's going to become even more muddy because the thing that's muddy is louder than the sub. Like, you're going to get the sub, and then you're going to get this whoom over it, right? So you cut that, you bring it down below where the sub is at, and now we can just turn this thing up loud with the kick. Yeah, that drum bus is cool, but like if we don't EQ this, you see what I mean? That EQ is making it just fit right in where it goes. Then we have the rest of our drums, which are mostly synthesized. The only thing that I didn't synthesize here is just this 808 clap. Right, I pitched it up a little bit though. So for the hats, what we're doing is it starts with the main one. So I'm going to turn off all the effects. All this is an operator patch. It's just playing this tiny little, not even a full 16th note with white noise. The really short envelope on the volume, and then I've got a high pass filter. I have a little bit of reverb. Some drum bus, which really helps when you're doing synth percussion to get it out of the synth and more like percussive. I've got an auto pan, making it bounce off the kick, and then we're just cutting out the lows. Then I've got this analog hi-hat. Right, you can hear plays on every other 16 note. This one's really simple. All it is the noise. I've got the filter all the way up, and then we have a really short volume envelope. And then this one. So you hear how these hi-hats kind of fit together? This one's a bit wider because I used unison, so it kind of stands out. So it's like you're getting that other one, like, and then it's, right? It's really subtle, but you get a lot of movement there. So with this one, it's just this white noise inside a wavetable. I've got the unison on random, and then we have a high pass filter with the drive all the way up. You can see the drive really pushes it to be more like percussion. And the last thing we got down here before we go is the effects. So just some subtle background sounds here. I have like, these are from one of my effects packs on electronic samples. Really simple, just call and response. And then I have a little bit of reverb, high pass, because there's a bit of low end in these. right? You really just wanted that to be in the highs. And then we got this auto pan here to make it sound sidechain to the kick. And yeah, so that's going to be it for this one, guys. I hope you enjoyed. As always, make sure to like this video as well as subscribe. And let me know what you think of this video in the comments. Once again, you can get this full project file, samples, MIDI, presets, everything from this video is available on my website and also on my new subscription service, ES Pro. Thanks for the support, everybody, and I'll see you tomorrow with another video.